So ladies and gentlemen, we're now moving on to the last panel discussion, which promises to be another interesting one. So as bosses, leaders in the field of marketing, you might be very familiar with the term music marketing, right? So music marketing strategies refer to innovative and contemporary approaches used to promote music and connect with audiences in today's digital age. But why is it gaining popularity now, and why is it considered an important factor for business success? So we're now delving deeper into that topic with the panel session of MMA CEO and CMO Summit Vietnam 2024, moderated by Mr. AMIT THAKUR, Managing Partner of Wavemaker. Let's explore the dynamic power of this concept through the topic, striking the right chord, modern strategies for music marketing success. And I would like to call up our panelists, Mr. AVIK CHATTERJEE, Marketing Director of Kimberly-Clark, Mr. Nguyễn Hà Đức Minh, Founder and Senior Advisor of Lava Digital Group, Spotify Advertising Partner in Vietnam. I'd like to invite Ms. Trần Bảo Trang, Head of MMusic, Business Development Director and Strategic Initiatives of Metub. And Mr. Pepper FERAREN, Chief Strategy Officer of Publicis Groupe, Vietnam. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage our panelists and moderator. Joining us in this panel discussion, so I hope you're all ready. Over to you, Mr. Amit.
Great. Thank you so much for that introduction. So I know, let me stand for a moment. And I know this is the last session for the day. All of you are sort of overwhelmed with the awards, people who have won, and huge congratulations to everybody who won. But before we get on to starting this session, maybe we take a break. I know you're all waiting for the drinks, which Jessica has organized kindly for us. But before that, just take a moment to seep into something. I'm going to play a piece of music for you, and then I will, will interact about that. So just hold on and close your eyes and just listen to this music piece. Can I have the first one, please? Thank you. Second one. And the last one. Thank you. Now, one question. Can anybody recognize all three tunes? Anybody? Okay, you can shout out from there. Kate? Yes, Andrew. Yes. So that was the theme, because we are going to rock you. So you're absolutely right? But the whole idea to make you listen to this is that without having any visuals, the power of sound, the power of music is such that it remains in your mind and it appeals to you as a human being, as a consumer, right? And that's the topic for today, of how brands can leverage music as a tool to connect with their audience, to create an impact for their brands, right? And to do that discussion for today and have useful insights for all of us, let me invite the esteemed panelists today. We start with AVIK CHATTERJEE, Marketing Director for Kimberly-Clark. Please give a huge round of applause to have these panelists on board. Welcome. We have MINH representing Spotify with Lava. Thank you, MINH, for being today. Chang, Head of MMusic, associated with Metub. Welcome, Chang. And finally, we have Pepper, Strategy Lead with Publicis, new to Vietnam, right? Great. So the fact that music appeals to us, all of us, in some way or the other as a human being, as consumers of brands. And for each of those aspects of our life, whether we are listening to music from movies or a particular piece of music that you love, sometimes from the brand, there are different ways in which brand can engage. Sonic branding, for example, is a strong way for brand to create an identity and associate your brand with certain kind of personality and then connect with your audiences, right? So to understand more about how music marketing can be done, what are the different aspects of it, AVIK, can I start with you to understand as a marketer, right? What are those different aspects of music that you have seen as a marketer, and anything that you want to share from your experience that you have used for your brand?
Okay, so firstly, I think good afternoon and good to be here and talk about something we are really passionate about, and we have dabbled in, we've done some work in this area of music. Also, very happy to hear views of other panelists. I think the other panel, a lot of them have a lot more expertise in music marketing. I look at it from only one lens, which is the brand and the manufacturer side, but happy to hear perspectives from the other sides as well. So in terms of music marketing, I think I'll talk and maybe share a little bit of the work that we've done to give a perspective. We all are aware that music marketing has huge potential, I think, in driving brand identity as well as brand affinity. What you just shared to start off with are great examples of where a brand can use music, audio, sound to drive brand identity, anchor a brand identity very strongly. And it's, in a way, we under-leverage music's audio sound because we believe that the power of visuals is much stronger than audio. However, audio does connect with different part of the brain as compared to visuals, and often has a lot less clutter, which is where audio, sound, music can actually create a much more long-lasting impact, which is why some of these brands have chosen to leverage audio, sound, music in the way they've done. In terms of our own, like the kind of work we've done, I think we use music marketing a lot to drive affinity with the right audience.
Correct.
One of the brands we have, which is Cortex, actually talks to young teenage girls in Vietnam. So what music does for us is gives a connect to the right audience. The second piece why we use music marketing so much is that Cortex as a brand is strongly anchored on a purpose. And the purpose we believe in is that periods or stigmas around period should not hinder any girl from progress. Now that's a very powerful purpose, but at the same time, it is a very serious topic.
Okay. And it's not easy to communicate to consumers.
Correct. So I think I'll just share ask the videos to be played.
Sure.
We'll just look at them and then I'll talk a bit more about it.
Awesome. Can I request for the first video, please?
K-O-T-E-X. And let me hear you say K-O-T-E-X. Holla, holla, what you say? Chị đến từ máu là generation wow. Cho chơi đập tủ định kiến để chị làm thầu. Chị chỉ thỏa sức phiêu lưu làm điều chị muốn. Chị ngại gì máu chị bày đà kỳ đi go. Chị đến từ máu là generation wow. Chị không có giới hạn đâu, chỉ là chị ngầu. Chị chỉ thỏa sức phiêu lưu làm điều mình muốn. Chị ngại gì máu chị bày đà kỳ đi go. Ngày buổi sáng đến lớp chị thấy vết hồng trên mông. Chị đã biết trước ngày hôm nay sẽ rất tuyệt. Chị gọi điện ngay cho cô text. Ai trả đến tháng đợi tớ có mặt liền. Và chị muốn thông báo hôm nay cho chị ưu tiên là sự thoải mái ở trên hết cái ăn diện. Chị đến kỳ kinh nguyệt mà nếu mà nói vậy nghe bất tiện, then sorry baby we're not friends. Vì nó không phải thứ gây mất thể diện, không xin thêm túi ni lông đen khi tính tiền vì chị bảo vệ thiên nhiên và vì
Yeah, I think I didn't understand the song, but I really love the tune. It's already catchy enough. Can we play the second one also, please?
It's gotta be today. It's gotta be a K-O-T-E-X MMusic. It's gotta be a It's gotta be a K-O-T-E-X MMusic. Và để giải đáp cho câu hỏi của mọi người, em xin tuyên bố rằng là em rất tuyệt vời, là niềm hạnh phúc của mẹ cha lúc can live.
Thank you.
So I'm not sure everybody got the message in the 1 minute clip. So I'll just maybe explain. The first one really talks about how it's embarrassing to talk, or it is believed that it is embarrassing to talk about period openly. So the video really champions or talks and encourages girls to talk about period openly, carry sanitary napkins, not in a black bag, but more openly. There is nothing wrong in talking openly about period. That's what the message is. The other video, which was more recent, takes on the belief that a lot of belief around periods is as blood or periods stop a girl from moving ahead. And we celebrate it. We released this on Women's Day this year, and we said that blood is actually that is good. Blood should not stop women from moving ahead. So these are, like I said, serious, sensitive topics. What music does for us is, one, obviously connect to the right audience, if we pick the right genre of music. The second thing it does, it makes the content lighthearted and, in a way, more acceptable. The third piece, the right use of KOLs, the use of the right KOL, makes the message seed in and become a part of culture, as against coming just from a brand. So that's where we've seen music marketing work. We've seen this piece of work, which we now continue to do as a series, really help the brand move up brand equity. And that's been our experience with music marketing.
Great, great. I think those are great pointers, AVIK, that you pointed out. And you know how brands actually have been leveraging music marketing already in past and build a connection. Right? Especially what you've pointed out, that for a lot of serious topics where people are not comfortable talking about it in public, you are using music in an interesting way to bring out that message, right?
Yeah, just want to add on top, right? If you find out that we go beyond music, right? Because now we found that in Spotify, when we track the people who listening the podcast, and the Gen Z now, we see the trend of the podcast listening. So it go beyond music, it go into audio in the overall. And remember, in traditional, in all your communication, you need to kind of a long form and sustainable communication. And today, podcast can function at that. If you want to explain something you cannot publicly communicate, right? That podcast is something people were looking for. Yep. That's one of the trends we pick up during a few years. We worked that in Vietnam with the podcast. Yep.
Great connection, man.
Yep.
Thank you for that. So in fact, you know, the fact that example that you gave about Cortex, AVIK, which talks about sensitive matters, about society, about women, and that also somehow connects to the culture, right? And how music actually transcends to different cultures, to different markets, age, genders, right? And Pepper, I would like to come to you and understand that now that you have spent, you're fairly new to Vietnam, as I know, right? And since you've seen other markets as well in past, why don't you share with us of how culturally music changes its pattern when you move from different markets, and how could we use that for different age groups or different audience?
Sure. So I think before we talk about how it descends into culture, we have to recognize how it's first universal. And you mentioned already how it triggers certain parts of your brain, and the research is showing that these triggers are not cultural, they're biological. Regardless of what culture you're from, music and sound creates a reaction in your brain, and it lets you perceive the world a little differently. So if I can just play an example now, really, really quickly to demonstrate.
Awesome. Can I have the first video, please?
That little piece of music is designed to make you enjoy the taste of whiskey 10% more than if you're not listening to the music. And it's working on these kind of universal reactions we have to music. And this research is very new. It's about from 2019. And it kind of opens up this whole space that we haven't explored as marketers of bringing music into the product experience. It's not just the setting, but it's something that will affect how you taste something. You can have packaging that is making a sound that will change how you feel about the product's packaging. And when you open a box that makes a whooshing sound, and this is universal, this is not cultural. We will all respond to it in this particularly emotional way. that will create a whole new experience.
I think you have given something for all of the whiskey lovers in the audience today. You know, next time we are going to drink whiskey,
Listen to that
listen
song.
to this piece of music.
No, but it keeps on applying. So ramen, if you like ramen, you can find music that will make that experience so much better.
Sure.
And so there is that universal side to music. The other research for the universality of music is telling us that while it is universal, the language of music then becomes cultural. So we all have these reactions, but each culture will get triggered in a different way by certain sounds and pieces of music. And just to demonstrate it, I just want to play 2 pieces of music.
Sure. Can we play the 2 pieces, please?
So they're very different pieces of music. One is very electronic, one is very like 16-bit. The other is very high fidelity, it's a whole orchestra. But they will trigger a universal reaction of joy, beating the odds, winning, depending on what culture you're from. So for every football fan that's here, the first one is the UEFA Champions League anthem. And as soon as you hear it, it's all about goals and excellence and all of these things happening on the field. But culturally, the second song among the gaming community, it's triggering the exact same thing, but in a very different way. Different pieces of music, and as it goes down to culture, it's all triggering the same response, but the piece itself is so different. And this football piece, you could take it all throughout Asia, except the Philippines. Because the Philippines doesn't watch football, no one will understand why that makes you feel joyful. The Final Fantasy song, as long as you're talking to the gaming community, all throughout Asia, all throughout the world, you can bring it and transport it with you. And so just to capture this cultural relationship with music, so recently Maroon 5 toured Asia, and it's very interesting to see how the different countries react to the single act as it moves from place to place. So in Vietnam, so I was talking to my colleague who was able to go to the concert. Vietnam is an appreciation audience. It's not a very noisy audience, but they're very appreciative of the music, and they really support Maroon 5 and cheer back. Thailand, a dancing crowd. So when Maroon 5 goes to Thailand, the response that's triggered is one of, okay, I'll dance to this. In the Philippines, the crowd sings back to Maroon 5. So it's just one piece of music, or several pieces of music, but just how it can trigger a different reaction depending on what culture you bring the same piece of music to. So it's just, again, just observing the cultural relationship we have with music, but also understanding that there is a universal baseline that we're all working from.
Awesome. I think that, you know, on that note, Pepper, and you've shared very beautifully of how universal it is, music, but it also, you know, has its own shape when it interacts with different people, right? And talking about universality, I think one of the recent phenomena all of us must have read about music is Taylor Swift, right? Any Swifties in the audience, you know, she single-handedly contributed millions of dollars to the economies of the countries where she is touring, right? So to Singapore, to Australia, and that's truly the power of what music. And I think the interesting part that you highlighted of how people react to this, right? From dancing to singing back in different countries. Awesome. And knowing these phenomena, right, is knowing information, knowing insights, and a lot of this rests in the world of platforms, right? That we all use apps and platforms to access services. Music is no different, right? And hence, you know, I would come to you, Min, as a platform owner, right? All of us today, almost all of us use Spotify, right? So you know what music we like, what we don't like, you know, what artists are we listening to, and you have so much in-depth knowledge and insights about consumers, right? How do you see platforms playing a role, using that knowledge for brands, and leveraging music as a platform to actually drive that connection?
Okay, thanks for that. Can you just, would like to play the Blackpink video before we come into the detail?
Okay. I think that's scheduled a little later. I'll get that going. Okay. Can I have the final video to be played, please?
Ambient noise playlists on Spotify are a gift to parents for getting baby to sleep. But if you're one of the 156 million people who don't have Spotify Premium, this happens.
Are you ready for it?
Stop selling so loud. Everyone is getting mad. IKEA cares about sleep, so we found the most popular baby sleep playlist on Spotify and bought targeted ads at times when babies are sleeping. So for an entire month, we replaced loud, silly, wake the baby ads with shushy, snoozy ads like this.
And I'm whispering so your baby can sleep. So soothing. Not loud, silly kitchen ads. Why do they make me yell all the time?
And while baby was still sleeping like a baby, we had some really quiet messages for parents that were still awake.
But you're still up. What a pain in the neck. You know how to deal with the pain in the neck. Ergonomic pillow. Don't mind me. Get the mattress from IKEA.
And all these better sleep things were just a tap away. Our shushy ads helped baby stay asleep and were also very clicky. At IKEA, we don't just sell you beds, we help you sleep in them too.
Thank you. So you see that the ad still very product focused, but they do it in a very nice way. Because why? Because the platform allows the marketer to deploy the campaign by using the flexibility of targeting. And then you will see that, imagine, right, you try to target something with the parent and the kid, and then suddenly some other ad come in between and make the baby cry, right? So with the platform, allow you to control that kind of targeting and then make sure that you deliver what you want and they have a good experience, right? That point number one. But that is more on from the creative side, more on from the brand side. But from the platform perspective, so you imagine, right, if you would like, from brand perspective, if you would like to deploy the campaign like that without platform, so imagine how much you have to invest into the music and audio assets to deliver this kind of campaign, right? So in order to support for the parent to how to have the series of very natural sound and on the kids baby, you have to invest a lot, right? In the past, traditional marketing, right, you have, say, 10 songs, 20 songs maximum. But today, with the platform, you have 100 million songs in the platform for you to select, to play the marketing. So the first point I would like to highlight that with the platform today, right, the music platform today, they provide the brand an excellent chance to use the music assets available for the brand, right? That is make the music marketing become much easier and very cost effective. That's point number one. Point number two, right? For music, the intellectual property, the IP issue is, I think, one of the headache for the brand and the agency to deal with, right? So remember the first year when we first launched Spotify in Vietnam, and we launched with one of the brand, and then we do have all the kind of IP protected, but finally, right, somebody also tried to come in and raise the issue of the IP, and it takes a lot of time and effort, right? So Spotify, they really understand that is the main issue. So when they do the platform for marketing, they allow the brand to put the widget of Spotify into your marketing asset, as long as you have the control of that, right? So whatever you want to do your music campaign, right? You go into the platform, you create your own playlist or your own album, you embed that into your marketing assets, okay? And then the people can play with that, but they not allow you to play the full music because that's the IP issue. But they allow you to play 30-second a song, and then it go back to your playlist on the Spotify platform. So basically, right, with the marketing, with the music platform, you don't have to worry about the IP. So you are 100% protected. If you follow the rule, Spotify automatically protects you with the term and condition with the artist. Okay? So that two things make music marketing today in the digital age become very popular. But Spotify, they go a bit further, right? So they say that the music, right, if you don't have the engine to personalize, because the context were different, the mood were different. So how can you make sure that when you do the music marketing, right, you can deliver the right song into the right context? So they are, from the day one, I mean, Spotify famous for their AI algorithm where they can personalize based on your listening. They go deep dive into the song, the music genre, different kind of playlist, so that they can help the advertiser to deploy the campaign flexibly on the platform. And that was originally designed for supporting the ad, right? Versus the other one, right? They just designed for the end user. But because Spotify, when they decided to go for commercial, they go for the freemium version, right? So yes, subscriber important, but the free part also has to be flexible enough to accommodate advertising without sacrificing the user experience, right? So if you go for the music ad today, right, you're not allowed to go a certain kind of high frequency, no way, right? They have a rule to control, make sure that the user experience is good enough, okay? And the last part, right, music is not only music, right? Not only audio, sorry. So they go, I mean, the listening journey, you have to go, I mean, from how you're going to search for the song, how you're going to build your own playlist. Today, you have 4 billion playlists on the platform for you to select from and to modify from that, to personalize from that. So you go from seeing on the screen what the display, the video, and then the audio side. And you repeat that cycle whenever, I mean, you have a new listening cycle. So all that kind of 4 factors make the music model in the digital today quite easy for the brand to do. And that, like normally we say, that how to personalize that kind of ad and offer in the platform. Thank you. Yeah.
Great, man. And I think, so the pointers that you said in terms of using that data for brands to actually understand what kind of consumers or audiences to target based on their likes and dislikes of music. AVIK, do you want to talk about any specific piece quickly that you use this data?
Just got me thinking. So
Yes.
yeah. So I think interesting point on personalization, and as we look at music marketing, audio marketing, one of the pieces we're doing is obviously targeting the right audience on Spotify, but also targeting basis the preference of the genre of music. And today, a lot of the AI tools make it very easy to customize a lot of, like we had this Cortex jingle where and through an AI engine that can be converted to a rap, that can be converted to a tune of jazz. So it depends on what the preference of the user is what the even the content that is served can be tweaked around very easily. And got me thinking some of the examples you shared that we're using audio marketing on one of our brands. Why not the other, which is Huggies as well? I'm sure parents have a very different playlist from what young Vietnamese have. Yeah.
I can clearly see a pitch happening where Spotify is getting more business and more brands that AVIK is promising. But I think among the other things, that you mentioned about, right, about IP rights, and those are very critical because a lot of times, a lot of brands wants to go ahead with this journey of music marketing, but they get caught up in those legalities of getting those IPs for the brand. And I think what you mentioned as a platform owner, it comes very easy for the brand to just connect with you and get those things done away, right? And the last point that you mentioned about how visuals are also helping drive the whole experience while you're listening to music, right? And that's what, Chang, I would like to come to you and ask and understand, why don't you share more about how the content space itself in Vietnam has been evolving, and where is music in that? And as a combination of audio and video, how does it enhance the whole experience for consumers?
Yeah. There is a strong change in about the content landscape in for brand in the past few years. The significant change in the content format is for me about the UGC content, can call the user-generated content, and also the appeal of a lot of new platforms that you can see. We have TikTok, we have Spotify. So that's make the traditional communication and even traditional way of marketing a brand change to not just the one-way communication. It has to be more dynamic. Brand not just put the content for the customer, they also have to active engage and influence the user, have to can collab and even create the content for brand. And also because the behavior of audience when the new platform appear, it have a little change. So the brand have to utilize the multi-format content. That not just the audio, it have to be the video, and it's also turn on to not just the long form, it have to be the short form content. And they have to maximize and even have utilized in the ecosystem platform to have maybe can approach and reach out for the audience. It can be the park can have brand, can host and even create the media content platform hosted by brand. And I believe if brand can host this community, they can have the inside data and also can easily foster deeper connection with brand, with the audience. And it will be the long-term strategy for brand to build an even understanding about their customer. And especially for music, in my experience, I believe music is very special because it's not just a piece of content. It's the easy type of content that you can easy to get into the emotional of audience, and you can use it with a lot of purpose. And for the, actually, I think I have a chance to collaborate with Kotek, and I can use like the Kotek brand campaign happen in 2023 for you to see the overall picture when we use the music marketing. So now, actually, we in this campaign, our objective is become the pioneer of the first time ever record. Like this is the first time ever that Kotek collaboration with the two young Gen Z artists, Sterling and Mono. And this also the first time that the male artist joined to the campaign that exclusive for the woman. And when with the authentic and even the expertise of artists, we create the authentic song can call Sui Hay Vui, and the catchy single is KOTES. And we want to inspiring for the audience to create the content. So that's why we choosing the, I can call this the full funnel music distribution and promotion, because we not just put the music video on YouTube, we also distribute the audio to all of digital streaming platform, so that like Spotify, Apple Music, and also we release the official soundtrack on TikTok. And with the, I think with the meaning, the message of the campaign, and even the creative way to reach the audience, because we create the, I can call the remix version of the song. And also we collab with the CapCut filter. This is the application for the Gen Z to create the content on TikTok. So we inspire the audience can create the content. And I think the achievement that we have around 800,000 audience authentic join to the maybe to the our campaign, because they using the catchy single, the catchy jingle to introduce a best moment of that with their family, with their fans. Even in our jingle is also KOTEX, Tết này cậu vui chứ. And then because of the, I think music also impact to the behavior of the purchasing and the rising of online shopping. So in that time, we collab with two artists to create a limited version. And I think with the performance of the song, the limited version post sold out just for, I remember, 24 hours and with 1,000 posts. So music can be the, I think music can be the content platform that brand can use to reach the audience. And it has to be the long-term strategy because you have to host the content, you have to host the community, and it has to be like you create the content for your audience. I think in Vietnam, and maybe this is a trend in other countries, like I think Coca-Cola with the Coke Studio become to the global music platform, and Red Bull with a lot of IB series, especially for music, they become the label, can call Red Bull Record. They roll with the artists, roll with the audience, even roll with the content creator. So, and then this is the best platform for them to can collect the data and insight. So I think this is the music is the easy content for the brain can use. Yeah.
Thank you, Cheng. I think very wonderfully put, and I really love the last piece that you said, that music can be the content, right? So all of us, all the brands, while we will look for content to create for the brand, what we may undermine is the strength that music can provide to it, right? And some of the good examples that you gave of Coke Studio and the Red Bull. So these are all brands possibly who are advanced users of how music can be leveraged to build their brands. And they've been not just using it to build brand, possibly to even monetize it, where they've created labels out of this, right? And that actually makes sense. And I think that is some of the things. And the other point, Chang, that you highlighted of how influencers or KOLs can also play a role, right? And Pepper, if I may ask you that, because we discussed about how music can create, a sense among us when we are consuming a particular product or service, but combined with the effort of a personality, like an influencer, do you see that adding up for the whole brand experience?
Oh, absolutely. It all plays a role, right? So the influencer is signaling something, the music is signaling something, and it's when you can get all of that aligned together with what your brand is promising, that you can really deliver a music experience that will change behavior in the consumer. So it's just a matter of understanding what am I using my influencer for exactly? What is my music doing exactly? So that they can all come together to deliver an objective.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
So now we have all the best advice from the brand, from the agency, and from platform. So at the agency, right, how can you take this and to make the best campaign for the client then?
Okay, this is the role reversal where Min has taken the role of moderator. But thank you, Min, for asking that question. And actually, for an agency of a Wavemaker or anybody, right, what we do is everything starts where the consumer is, right? And with data at the center of targeting and connecting with your audience, at Wavemaker, let's say we use something called a provocative planning framework, right? Can I have the visuals on the slide, please? So just to quickly share with you of how this works, yes, is that, so there is a consumer journey, right? Everything that we discussed, what AVIK spoke about, of how we recognize that there was a latent problem that society had of not able to discuss a particular problem about which connected to their product, right? And then culturally, what Pepper spoke about, understanding your audience and what they are passionate about, right? So that is the consumer unlock journey part within the whole provocative planning. The maximize part is once you've understood what passion point lies, what is the kind of music that appeals to your audience, then how do you create impact through the media, right? Whether it is planning part, whether it is the implementation part, but driving that impact to your audience for your brand, right? And once you have done that in the transform stage where you actually learn and unlearn of what has gone well for you and actually create growth for the brand of new innovations that can be done which you have learned based on your past experiences, right? So collectively understanding the consumer passion points, using that to drive media impact and creating learning and insights to drive brand growth in future, right? And an example from Min and Chang from what you shared, using influencers or KOLs to drive a brand impact with music as its base and actually using a platform to, to connect with the brands. Can I have that example on the screen, please? Next one.
Twist, lick, dunk. Give me that perfect taste. Make me so glad like that. I don't think I could wait. Twist, lick, dunk. It's making me up and go. Wanna see your body move. Yeah, what you do, you wanna do. Twist, lick, dunk.
Thank you. So this is exactly what we spoke about, right? That music is the base of which is connecting the brand to the audience, but you're using a face, you're actually using a KOL and influencer to drive that, double the impact. And then you have a platform like TikTok, which easily connects to audiences and in Vietnam. And then, the brand which has Oreo, which has a partnership with Blackpink. To highlight that whole partnership, you're using a multiple sets of drivers of impact, but underlying music at the base of it, right?
Just want to add in, right? So imagine the global kind of sponsorship, right? So it's important that how at each the local market, you can leverage on this to make the activation localized, right? So imagine with the music platform, you have all the music assets of the Blackpink in the platform, right? And then the local team can create different kind of playlists for the local people, leverage on this, because all the assets globally already contracted with the music platform, right? So if we know when we enter the music marketing, right, the platform give you the very good tool and foundation for you to really localize that. Right? I think that is make the marketer job easier, right, and less investment. Yeah.
Great point, Min. Great point. So now having heard all of you, and from your different perspective, before we move to the audience for the last one, can I just have one quick comment, just one-liner, of what should we do new or change for a better future to leverage music marketing for our brands? Chang, can we start with you?
I think it have to be like you have to build a multiple experience, not just online, it have to be offline with the music live event. Using the online like digital campaign and offline like the experience built in person, love, and you can create the maybe I think community like you can collab with the festival and building the activation area there.
Online plus offline.
Yes, right.
Awesome. Min?
I think in order to be successful on the music marketing, think about the platform and be persistent on that. Yeah.
Okay. Continuity on the platform is what will help. AVIK?
So I think wish list from platforms is that there is a lot more measurement capability. Today the capability is not as robust, and hence the sustainability will get ensured as there's more and more measurement possible of the impact. From manufacturers or brands, I think the ecosystem today is quite robust. But there is no one day that brand or marketers will wake up and say, now we are on music marketing. So the need of the hour really is to dabble in it, then figure your way out. We also did not really come onto it and say, what, this is our long-term strategy. You start small, you realize it's working, and then you kind of build it into a long-term plan. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the favorite point from all marketers today, right? Measurement. And we heard that from Anil today morning, metrics of success. Thank you, AVIK, for that. Pepper, can I have your comment?
So what I find kind of funny from today is one of the themes from the entire day has been change. But one of the constants in every speaker, panel, etc., has been about listening to the consumer. And it's just funny that there's this constant that we kind of downplay, but it's actually so important, that the importance of still listening, so basic, still listening to the consumer. And when it comes to music marketing, it's all about listening to how our consumer listens. So it's about trying to figure out how do they listen and how does that listening influence their mood, influence their behavior.
I think that's a very good point. Listening to audience of what they listen to, right? Great. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to a wrap for this session. If you have any questions from the audience, and if I may ask Rohit, Jessica, if you have time. Unfortunately, we don't, but we are all here. Anybody and any one of you wants to contact any of our panelists or myself, please feel free to do so. On behalf of MMA, I would really, really want to thank the esteemed panelists for your insightful sharing and discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our moderator and our panelists for a very insightful panel discussion. Thank you.